now. We'll be taking a look at it on the chart just here. I'll zoom it in a wee bit so you can see what we're talking about. But Chainlink, 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 Chainlink. What do you think? Chainlink, what do you think? Why does the price have to sink down to that area that we spoke about? 25 bucks, in fact, on the old Chainlink. And what we're seeing right now is it's down at 24.41. How far have we dropped? And we can see the price have come all the way down to 23.87. Time to zoom on into that chart. Rocky, perhaps. Let's just bring up full screen. And you can see that we were obviously anticipating that this could potentially happen. We discussed this in a number of ways. I even kind of stretched it out a little bit, put in all the good positive noise and talked about everything about the $29, the $31, etc. Didn't happen though, folks, did it? Because what actually did happen instead was this negative move that we were obviously talking about really as well. Let me just get a measuring stick up here so that we can trace from the top end to the downside here and say, have we done enough? Now, from a textbook point of view, actually, we have. See, the textbooks, what the textbooks will tell you is, if you go and check out the patron site.com, that's the site by Thomas Bulkowski, is that you take 60% of that move, more or less, and that's what you're looking for. So really, we can consider it to be satisfied kind of anywhere between 60% and the full thing. But we've done we've done pretty much done the full thing already, but we still have a target down below. What is our greedy target then, if you will, for shorts past, who played this breakout? Now, you actually got a few bites of the cherry over the last couple of days as we were pushing down the way. Sorry to everybody who didn't watch the video then, I suppose, on Monday and actually watched through the live stream and see all the chat that we had about this thing. But if you had done, then you'd been more or less aware of the need to be closing above $27 and $28 really for that 236, but $27 where that red line was. Now, there's the distinction. Obviously, we spoke about this 236 in here as being super important, and we talked about this red line as being super important, and it was obviously then this zone then, if you will, was kind of the important area. And we see that when we broke this, we actually got a couple of bites of the cherry if you had wanted to take advantage of that move down the way and subsequently, of course, drop down. What this means is that between the high and the low, there was a 13% move to be had. But if you were just happy enough to take 10%, then you could have taken that easily anywhere along the ways over there. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. What? But you didn't tell me to go short. I'm sorry, that's not what I do on the channel here. Instead, I just lay out all the technical analysis and the clear areas where you should really be managing your risk. But because I'm not a financial advisor, I won't just say, do this, do this, do this, do that. Instead, I'll say to you, hey, your job as a trader is actually in the buying and selling of risk. And then I'll show you all those different areas where you might be finding that risk at. And on that front, actually here on this chart, we can see if we look down at the 382 in here at $23.50, that between this zone and the next zone, there is, of course, a big drop off in in potential support for us. Bringing the VPVR on screen, just so you can see actually that despite me saying that this is the biggest area of the on the nodes here. I didn't actually know it was going to be, well, I did because I looked at the prices and you could tell by looking at it that that's how that would look. But you take these risks when you do live videos. Speaking of which, by the way, this is actually a live stream that I'm doing right now, so you should come and join me for it. Come and join me for it sometime. There's actually a whole discussion on the go at the minute. Let's just see. For instance, got KDoc. Anybody use Swissborg? I'll be diving back over to that chat in just a minute, but drop me a like as well on this video if you enjoy the content that I put out there, and as well if you get some sort of value out of it, then why not? But this is what we're looking to. $23, big drop down the way here towards the $21, but so large on the VPVR. Are we, despite the fact that we've not got clear area of support and resistance, could we find that there is a sort of quagmire to go through here, etc.? We could go here fairly quickly and then go back up the way through, or go down quickly and go back up through the quagmire again thereafter. Really, I'd just be thinking that managing your risk in it around about that zone there is probably for the best. And overall, what I actually want to see happen is a resumption of the overall upward trend, and we'll get around to talking about that in just a minute. In fact, let me just make this easier on your eyeballs and bring up the charts full screen for us. So what could we be talking about in terms of if this were to actually turn around? A long position from this area where you actually manage your risk down towards that zone can actually see you getting anywhere above that 2 all the way up towards 5 really movement on this. You could almost go as high as 5. That's a bit rich, but just we're taking this into roughly where our previous highs was instead. Really, you can see that we can get sort of 4-to-1 risk to reward on this if things were to go like, fantastically well. But that's actually what you're saying, is that we're looking for a reversion towards the overall upward trend, the reversion towards the mean, if you like, of the overall upward trend. Have we done enough just here in this zone? Well, if we manage our risk in it around about this, then what we're saying is that closures, etc., that are breaking this market structure here are negative, and we're not willing to sustain the cost or the risk, if you like, as well, of holding on to positions for any movements down the way, regardless of whether it goes quick or not, really, towards those key horizontal support and resistance areas. What actually happened is that we had a movement down the way, we retraced up, we got the golden pocket, and now we're waiting for the markets to accept their new reality. What this could potentially be is a higher low. This is the 24-hour time frame. Getting rid of those drawings again, just so you can see quite clearly that we're actually just coming in here and trying to scrape in and close out just higher than it. Could that be the case? And could the overall pattern then of this descending triangle really go beyond the zone that we were originally looking at here of that red line, really, in terms of this smaller triangle, which is real? And instead, could we be looking at the bigger picture here in the 24-hour time frame and saying, well, this is your low, this is your low, that's a high, this is a high, and draw the triangle in around about this on a broader view instead? Well, we could, and just doing that so you can see what you kind of end up with is something along these lines instead, which does give you a potential for fake out territory, etc., up towards those hearts, movement up towards the 618, etc., all that on the cards again, with clear profit taking zones where you should have really have covered your face, your trade should really have wiped its face. Wow, should really have wiped its face if you were to take a long at any point there and leave you in a position where you're not actually really risking anything. Instead of being one of these people who trades with what they can't afford to lose, and thinks that that's all they're doing, actually, what you can't afford to lose is also the money that's on the table so often. Just bear that in mind if you are, of course, leveraged trading in these zones. So that's what we're looking to. If we did get a big movement then beyond this zone, really, what's the scary times? Scary times says 618 golden pocket retrace coming back down towards $14. Who wants $14 though? That's just the price of band token, and band token, that's nowhere near as good as Link, right? Yeah. And then of course it could take us up towards all-time highs. The again, equal high there, equaling our all-time high, coming in there at $37 sort of type of mentality. Right, that could all be on the cards for Chainlink in the near future. Trading the range at the minute, perhaps the most sensible option. Being aware of where your conditions and your risk really changes that. Well, I've delivered that information to you. Now, you actually going ahead and making money in these markets is going to be up to you. I'm jumping back over to the chat. So let me